Excellent. Thank you for having me here. SCbio, SCRA, all the support we've received as a small business. The solution I'm going to share with you today was created in a bathroom in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, by a person who had undergone bladder cancer and received an ostomy surgery. We're talking about people who have gone through a lot of treatments and what has become something that's life-saving in some cases and life-changing certainly is surgery to remove some part of the bowel so that they actually will expel waste through their abdomen through what's called a stoma. We're focused on solutions that help these people live a better life. There are about 4 million. There's actually over 4 million in the world. There's over around 1 million in the United States. People who wake up every day and have to manage their waste through a pouching system. You might not know them. Some of you might. They might be your parents or your children, your spouse. But they're pretty private because this is not something we talk about all the time, right? And so they change their clothing so that you can't really see that they're wearing a pouching system. But they're living a life, and a lot of times it's a big struggle. A stoma is actually put on their abdomen where they expel waste into a pouching system. And it can be there because of a number of reasons. It could be because they have as I mentioned, my father-in-law had bladder cancer, and so he actually had a urostomy. You've heard of colostomy pouches. It could be an ileostomy. Based on what is being treated, they'll have a different ostomy type. Here's the challenge. They pouch their waste into the adhesive pouch. That needs to be changed every few days, and when they make that change, they actually pull their pouching system off and expose the stoma. They throw this away, and they start to get ready for their next pouching system. They have to start to clean themselves, but they have no control over their stoma. So this continues to expel waste. Now, it is what you're thinking right now. It's hard to stomach because this becomes very difficult if I'm in a public bathroom, I'm at a friend's dinner party, or I'm just trying to get my day started, or I've had an accident at dinner. So this is a person making her change. This particular person is very skilled, and she has all kinds of tricks that she comes up with. Eat marshmallows ahead of time, do this, do that. But you can see that she still is having to deal with the waste that's coming out of her abdomen. And in this particular video, it's 15 minutes long. She goes through her change and teaches people how to do this, over 4.5 million views. But in that 15 minutes, she went through 20 pieces of gauze, and she had her mother helping her, so she had 4 hands. Not everybody has that. And ended up, obviously, with a bag full of waste that needed to be dealt with. And still wasn't that successful because she starts the video by saying she had problems with her skin. From the last time she changed her pouch, she trapped effluent. So we've had people, it can be very emotional. We have one person who now uses our product who said, before I had your product, I had to steam clean my carpets after every change. Peristomal skin complications are very normal. Over 37% of people will have a peristomal skin complication within 90 days of surgery, over 80% within 2 years. It's a problem that needs to be treated, and the solution is the Stoma Genie. Very simple. It's the most analog product you're going to see up here today. It's a cartridge filled with super absorbent material that is the third generation of what my father-in-law came up with. Now, when somebody uses our product and they expose their stoma during that change, they pull their bag off, they throw that away, they put the Stoma Genie over their stoma, and everything is contained right here. It's just as simple as you think it is. Now that person has time to take care of their skin, prepare for the next pouching system, and make sure that when they do put on that new pouching system, it's going on clean, healthy skin. Reducing the peristomal skin complications and creating a better life. The Stoma Genie then is plugged. It's shipped with a plug. It's packaged with a plug. They plug it. Now, instead of having the hazmat gloves out and taking all this gauze and tissue and going and putting it in this bag and tying that up and cleaning the carpets, everything's contained right here. Sounds like a magic trick. It's just very simple. They just take this. It's biodegradable, and they toss that in the trash can. we've gone through all the early work. We're ready to blow this up. We did all the user testing. We created the IP. We have 3 patents on the Stoma Genie. We now have Medicare coverage, so it's fully reimbursed by insurance. And we are actually even being taught where they teach nurses to take care of ostomies at the Wound Care Institute. And then just this past year, we finally launched into the 3 biggest distributors in our space. And so we're prepared now to go drive demand through those. The hardest part of this whole thing was getting those distributors to recognize the market demand. And now we have Cardinal Health and all their downstream wholesale customers, as well as Byram, the #1 ostomy care distributor, and Edge Park, #2. Our journey started by just working very closely with a little distributor, little DME, down in Jacksonville, Florida, far left. We worked through with a cash-based distributor up in Pittsburgh to get a little bit more understanding of how the market works. We got into Amazon to understand how the cash-paying business works. And then, as you can see, we've added the distributors as we've gone here, and we're ready to scale the business. The equation is simple. There's over 4 million users. They have to wear a pouch every day. They have to change that pouch every 2 to 3 days, and they're going to use a Stoma Genie every time they change. So the math works out, and it was when we realized it needed to be disposable that this business plan came into play. Medicare approved, patented. If we just get 10% market penetration, it's a sizable business, as you can see there. We're shooting certainly higher than that. Our goal is to build a product that fits very nicely into the product portfolios of the 3 largest manufacturers, Coloplast, Convatec, and Hollister. We're trying to build a product and a business up so that they can basically just drop this right into their product portfolio. And imagine one of these, they're neck and neck, and all of a sudden one of them has this in their product portfolio, allows them to have a competitive advantage over the others. Now, along this journey, you see me talk about that everyday issue of changing. We also know that people have today peristomal skin complications that are very difficult to treat, primarily because when they have a problem around their skin, they still have to put an adhesive barrier over that same challenged skin. And so we've created the only and patented ostomy output diverter that allows the skin to breathe and get treated and is not covered by an adhesive and still captures the effluent and channels it into a pouching system or into a large volume reservoir if the person is bedridden for a longer period of time. All done by these, Teresa and Rita right here with me, Bruce Johnson, Reed Johnson, and Teresa Johnson. It's a family business, and everything you've seen us do to this point has been done by the 3 of us. We have another person who helps us build these in the shop, but we've got extensive backgrounds in technology and distribution systems and so forth, and certainly you can see it there. And our ask is simple. We're at that point where we've done all the pre-seed funding, and we've got a seed round open that's to go out and really reach the customers and through sales and marketing. Thank you.
Well, it certainly is an analog product, so thank you. Couple of questions. Are all the ports the same sizes?
No, they're not. Ostomies are anatomical and can be any shape. They range from a 1/2 inch up to, we've heard of 4 inches. We actually build this product in 12 sizes, between a 1/2 inch and 2 inches. But we also, with this motto of no stoma left behind, we create custom 3D adapters that will plug into the end of this that will fit to any stoma and allow them the cartridge that they need to use.
And what are you selling it for? Or better yet, Medicare is reimbursing?
The Medicare reimbursement ranges from $327 to $387, so at an average of $357 is the general reimbursement for it. And we've been selling them into wholesale at $2.
And your cost to produce?
Our costs now, we've driven those down. We were up in the $3 range. We're now down at $1.19 per unit on average, and we've got our sights and plans to get ourselves down to 60 cents.
And you said that you guys produce these in your shop?
Yeah, we have a 1,800 foot square square foot office in Greenville, South Carolina, where we build them right there.
And how many of these can you produce on a daily basis?
We're currently producing about 1,000 to 1,200 a week. And then we just received a large order from Cardinal Health back in November. We just brought in extra temporary bodies and built them faster. We built 10, I think it was 4,800 units in a couple of days.
And 10% of the market, what does your capacity have to ramp up to meet 10% of the market?
Well, we certainly need to change this product to not just be a manual. We have plans to be able to fulfill a demand up to what we think this year would be a couple 100,000 units with 4 to 5 bodies. But we're also looking at ways to streamline the production of this. We have a manufacturer we're talking to right now who is in this business of incontinence and absorption, who will replace a third of our COGS with an outsourced pouch.
And I'm sorry, one more question. You had a slide up there, 4 million was the addressable market. That was just in North America. That's not worldwide, right?
No, and it's very, very important. I'm glad you asked that. There are over 4 million people in the world, but it's a very difficult measure because we don't know the mortality rate. People don't say they died with a stoma, right? But we do know that in the United States, there are an average of 130,000 surgeries every year. Some people will, of course, pass away, and then there's reversals. So but the United Ostomy Association feels like there's about 1 million in the United States. We think there's likewise, data tells us there's about 1 million to 1.3 million in Europe generally. And then China is maybe 1 million by themselves. India is probably 1 million by themselves, but we're not looking at those markets. We're primarily focused on the US and European markets. Japan as well.
So if you look at the potential demand, how do you keep up with that without, let's say, automating the process and not relying on human labor to create the device?
Well, it's a graduated plan, right? So we'll throw people at it until we're taking steps. We've got steps to, as I said, we'll knock out a third of our process when we replace the pouch that's inside of here, where we can buy these for 10 cents and just drop them in instead of the 30 cents it cost us to put it in there. Or to build it and put it in. So we'll replace parts and then we'll redesign certain things as we go. We know we can automate, for example, the finishing part of this. The $1.19 is the whole game. So when we do them on average to $1.19, that includes the shrink wrapping on the top and the packaging, the sanitizing of it. There are steps that we're going to take with machinery that will replace that. Certainly with the packaging, we'll replace that with more volume packaging. So yeah, we'll continue to use mechanization, but to get there in automation, but to get there, we'll put bodies at it as we start to grow the revenue. So instead of having to drop $1 million into a bunch of machines that we aren't positive are going to do the job, we'll keep going as we're going and grow it till we start, replacing as we go. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What do you feel like your biggest challenge at this point is?
Well, as I showed you what we've done to date, we've gone through all the Medicare and the distribute. We built it all out. It's all about building awareness, and it's a marketing, sales and marketing game right now. We've just got to get out there and start driving business through. We are working with the distributors, and they're out talking to their nurses and bringing customers on board. But we've got to drive more of that. We've got to have a big social media campaign. We've done that. We spent $8,000 on total marketing last year because we were doing everything else trying to get ready to this. So we're going to basically, everything we're going to do is throw it at sales and marketing.
Tell me how did it work with your Amazon and direct sales, and do you see those customers migrating over and then now using the distributor partners you have and having to go through Medicare?
That's a great question. So it was a really hard thing to figure out here was the dynamics of how people buy. These people spend about $5,000 a year on supplies, not ours. And so it's a very Medicare and insurance-driven space. And the distributors, Byram, Edge Park, they take care of all their prescriptions and all of their reimbursements and all, and take assignment on everything. But there are people without insurance or people who don't know about their using it on their insurance that will go off and buy from a Medical Monks Cash or Amazon. We've heard as much as 25% of the business is that way in ostomy, because there's a big ostomy pouching business on Amazon. We haven't found that yet, but we did have a consultant come in and start and kind of test the market for us last year. And we saw that, yeah, there's something there. And so we've kind of taken that on, and we're just now growing that back up ourselves. And we're starting to see those regular orders. Probably the most exciting thing about this, and our distributors tell us this as well, we see this on Amazon, is that when somebody starts using this, they keep using it. They don't, it's a very, as it's been referred to by our, the Byram product marketing manager, it's a very sticky product. People buy it every month.
One more question. The economics with this model, the infection rate and the cost, the medical cost to treat those infections, have you calculated that into your model? There's
a study in the Journal of Wound Ostomy and Continence Nursing that says that it's the same study that found that 37.6% of ostomy patients will have a peristomal skin problem in the first 90 days, and that the cost, their incurred healthcare costs are $80,000 more than a person who does not end up with a peristomal skin complication. We haven't found a lot of research that kind of backs that up, but that's where we're kind of coming from. Thank you.